Russian state propaganda is a separate reality. It is truly an alternate one, carefully crafted by the most skilled Kremlin propagandists, as they shout from the blue screens of televisions, or nowadays from smartphones. The overall atmosphere in Russian media resembles more of a dystopia from Orwell's 1984 novel than anything that actually happens in our real world. We thank the team at the Center for Countering Disinformation for providing these examples of Russian hate speech. First, we have statements from propagandist Sosnovsky, who accuses Germany of fascism. Interestingly, his description of a fascist totalitarian regime closely resembles a certain country that constantly attacks its neighbors.
The main signs of fascism, a totalitarian dictatorship, exists in Germany today. There is control over all spheres of society in Germany. There is no political pluralism in Germany today. The dominance of one ideology, with no allowance for other ideologies or alternatives. The persecution of dissidents exists. Repressions exist. State propaganda, promoting a special new way of life, exists. So this is fascism. It differs from Nazism in only one way. In Nazism, there is the superiority of one specific nation over others. There is no such thing in fascism. If we break down all these signs, and I have just done so, and I can provide an example for each one, we understand and must understand that Germany, like Europe, is directly moving towards fascism.
It is strange that Sosnovsky described the current realities of his own country, but somehow replaced Russia with Germany. This is a tactic called mirroring. When events actually occur, the aggressor country's propaganda accuses its ideological opponent of these actions as if they were the ones committing such negative deeds. Germany is a democratic country that, from the first days of the war, actively provided shelter for Ukrainian refugees and supplied us with modern air defense systems, potentially saving tens of thousands of Ukrainian lives. Next, we have the furious top Kremlin propagandist Solovyov. He is enraged because European countries have imposed sanctions against him and banned from visiting his luxury villa in Italy.
Let me remind you that I am the journalist who is on all the European sanctions lists. This, despite their so-called freedom and law of free speech. Because you are a Nazi scums who have no idea of what democracy is. You are the next Reich, and you will be defeated. You are a satanic Reich.
Wow, this is something. A man who calls for genocide in Europe, threatens to burn down the capitals of France and Germany and destroy Ukraine entirely, suddenly wonders where has freedom of speech gone? Why is it okay to call for improving life, but not for killing? Speaking to viewers on the other side of the screen about freedom of speech in a country where a citizen cannot stand in a square holding a blank sheet of paper is so hypocritical. Yet Russians believe in the sacredness of their war against everything Western and progressive. And finally, we have a speech by a so-called deputy of the Russian State Duma who openly voices the true motives and goals of Russia. Despite all the calls for peacemaking, he openly declares that Russia will attack Europe again as soon as it regains military strength. The first goal of this war will be to physically and definitely destroy Ukraine and Ukrainians.
No one wants to understand that in the coming decade we will have a very tough confrontation with the West. We have no other options. I just want everyone to understand this. No one wants to grasp this. They conducted some poll, some foreign agent did. I don't know if it's accurate or not, but more than half, almost 60%, support negotiations. Yes, I support negotiations too. But what kind of negotiations? The West is pushing us to negotiate with Kiev, but we don't need that. We need to negotiate with the global West. If we come to an agreement, Kiev is another matter. It has no relevance to the agenda today. None at all. We have been attacking and we will continue to attack. If not today, then tomorrow. We will finish it off.
So, let's sum it up. All of Russia's external and internal information policy is built on lies and hypocrisy. When war is peace and freedom is slavery. When they talk about a ceasefire with Ukraine, they are actually looking for a more convenient and effective way to destroy our country and people after they have restored their military. The leadership of Russia imagines itself as a global superpower, when in reality they are global bullies who disturb the entire neighborhood, attacking people with clubs or knives. Each time they say, I don't want to hate you. You are making me do this," as they try to take something by force from their neighbors. Knowing your enemy is knowing how to defeat them. Their information struggle is to resist the information operations of the global aggressor who claims to desire peace, while their main goal is to destroy the world we know and force people into information slavery. Remember, once you've exposed the manipulation, it has already failed.